Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Martin and today we're jumping into the Conjuring 2. So yeah, I'm back here to shit my pants for your entertainment. That's what we're doing today. I suppose we can do this. Last time on the Conjuring, we were introduced to Lorraine and Ed Warren, who were at the start of the film looking into a possession of a doll or sort of an evil entity that was operating around a doll. That's how we were introduced to them. But then the main crux of the film happened around an old house out in the middle of nowhere that had a witch who was who hung herself outside of the house, and subsequently sort of possessed people who came to the house or near the house and had them murder their I think it was their child and then kill themselves. And the Warrens sort of figured this all out. And then the family who was currently in the house had the same thing happen to them, but they were able to stop it like the heroes that they are. And everyone kind of got away with it, even after the horrific clapping on the staircase, which was just brilliant. But there were some other things as well. There, the first film seeded a few little bits of information, like that Lorraine Warren has some sort of psychic ability going on, and that there was an exorcism that she took part in that seemed to take a really heavy toll out of her. This ability she has seems to, like, kind of, you know, it has a price to be paid every time she uses it in a kind of extended way. And we sort of got a hint that there was one particular exorcism that took a chunk of her with it, and it's interesting. I wonder if this film will sort of talk to that at all, or sort of play into that a little bit, or maybe just give a little bit more of information about her abilities and how they work and all that kind of stuff. Other than that, going into the second film, the only thing I know about this film is that it's coming over to my neck of the woods. It comes over to the UK. Well, the majority of it takes place over here for a case that the real Ed and Lorraine Warren were involved in over here. And I say real with, you know, quote marks there, because, you know, ghosts and stuff and possessions, not real. So here we are. We'll see what this new tale of the Warrens might entail, and hopefully it's good. I enjoyed the first film. I think some of the impact that probably happened when that film first came out was lost on me a little bit, just because, you know, since that first film came out, a bunch of other movies sort of tried to replicate that style in some way, shape or form. So some of that initial impact that was sort of lost on me, but I certainly appreciated it and tried to view it with the context of when it came out and the state of, like, horror at that time. But I'm interested to see number 2, see how it develops itself, see how it then obviously would do something to stand out from the crowd of movies that were, you know, trying to bank on how well The Conjuring turned out and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm interested. We'll see what number 2 holds for us. Amityville, New York. I've heard that name before.
We'd hoped to discover if the killings had been motivated purely by anger, or if he had been under the influence of something demonic.
Seems like their speciality of what they might be looking into. That's some fucking classic Star Trek lighting on her eyes there. This is the point that you turn around. Don't go in there. Turn around.
What did you do?
What the fuck is going on here? Oh, okay, she's like embodying it. Oh, this is fucking trippy. Ugh! Oh, you fucking creep! Get out of here! Oh my god, that was fucking trippy. Don't turn back round. But don't. Okay, it wasn't. Don't do it again. Don't. Fuck off. Jesus Christ. I knew it was coming as well. So I had heard of Amityville Horror. Well, I mean, I've heard of the movie. I knew it was sort of based on a true story.
What are you two doing? Janet, give that to me.
She's gonna smoke it. That's pretty fucking good. I'm liking that this is, well, apparently our setting is like a semi-detached house. It's not like last time where it was like completely isolated. I was interested that we're going to be in a populated area. Let's see how that works.
You got your school uniform for tomorrow?
Oh, that's a cool fucking shot. That was fucking cool.
All right.
People pulling out the Ouija board have,
I don't know, whatever you want.
you know, a death wish in these movies. Don't they know what kind of movie they're in? Gained fucking teleport powers. She teleported downstairs. Don't worry about it. This house is huge. Look at this. Like, I grew up in a relatively similar house to this, but way smaller. Granted, there wasn't like 5 kids.
Listen, Ed Warren's never seen a house that he didn't think was haunted. And by the time his
I mean,
wife
that's
is
not
done
true. We
blowing
saw in the
smoke
previous
and
movie
ringing
he
bells, they've got
was more
everybody else
disproving
believing in
things than
ghosts, too.
anything.
You found a clue for 6?
Again, why do people own
It's alright.
these weird
Let's try
things?
again.
Why do you own it?
Ready?
Spooky fog. Spooky fog rolling in. We're outside Dracula's castle now.
This is my house.
No, it's not.
Get rid of the Ouija board. That's what I say.
Stay away from Billy. Leave us alone, you hear? Shut up, what you doing? There's no one here.
Fuck that. If I heard that, I would be like, I just grab whatever was closest to me and be like, sleep with the light on. Leave it on. Good choice. Well, that's... Again, this movie is signposting its setups quite a lot. Be aware of the fire engine. How's that not waking anybody else up? Why are you doing this? Watching the goodies. There's Bill Oddie again. I wonder if Bill Oddie knows he's in a Conjuring movie. That's just very funny to me. Oh, fuck that. Fuck that. Leave the building. This is the point in which you leave.
My house!
Oh, you fucker. That was like simultaneously scary and really funny.
We need to stop. We can still do the lectures, but no new cases. Do you trust me?
You know I do.
Please trust me now.
No new cases, they say, until you need to fly all the way to the UK.
What are you doing that for?
In case I go sleepwalking again.
You teleported, fool. You teleport. You are one of the X-Men. What the fuck? Fuck. Chairs aren't allowed to be that scary. Fuck you. This is an angry old man. He bit you? What the fuck? Well, you can't. Well, at least that clears that up quick. She saw it with her own eyes. Yes. Yes. Leave. Leave the house.
Do you want to let him out, Billy?
This dog dies, I swear to God. You can't have another dead dog in this franchise. Ah! That's a bit of a poltergeist reference right there. I do kind of love how it just does not give a fuck.
We can file an incident report and we'll stand by it if anyone asks, but that's about all.
A report? Oh, that's brilliant. Every problem I have.
What are you going to do? What do you want them to do? Arrest a ghost?
Who's that?
That is a painting that has come to life. I was half expecting it just to be sat at the desk or smoking. Woo! This is a hard day's work I've got going today. Oh, fuck off. Fuck off with this. Absolutely not. Absolutely fucking not. Why would he hang that up? Why would he hang it up in this room? I'm so proud of my artwork. I'm going to hang it up and scare everyone. I like it here in the darkness so I can transition from a painting into an actor. Throw something at that painting immediately. There she is. Oh, or him.
Sorry, Lorraine.
Well, that don't look good. For the record, we're about an hour in, and the Warrens haven't even got to the UK yet. just in case you're wondering whereabouts we are.
Well, what should I call you?
It's a bit of a mouthful, mate. We could shorten that to something. Maybe. Bleh. I feel there's more to what's going on than just this old dude. The crooked man has left the toy. Shouldn't have opened the door. Oh! Oh! What the fuck is going on here? Excuse me? That... It's like a stop motion... That's very cool. I don't know how the crooked man monster leans into anything else that's going on, but he looked pretty cool.
Knock, knock. Very well. Who's there? Bill.
The voice on this tape is coming from an 11-year-old girl.
Well, shit. I feel like this is a trap. We now know that there's supernatural forces that are trying to get at the Warrens specifically.
And if God is showing you my death, then he's doing it for a reason. Maybe he meant to prevent it from happening. Come on.
I'm not so sure about that.
We don't run from
I feel like the evil forces are kind of running the show on this.
I saw an angel, and it looked right at me. My mom and the nurses did not believe me, but I knew it was real.
Well, good for you, lady. You get to see an angel. I get to see a creepy old man.
I finally found someone who believed me.
What did you do then?
Married him.
I married him.
Ooh, she did. I do like this about both these films so far. They make room for these kind of quieter, sweeter scenes. Now, that corner of the house is purposely designed to look creepy.
Guess so.
Just look at it. This is a really fucking cool shot, though. How, like, there's like an out of focus and she's like morphing into something else out of focus. It's cool.
Go! Help! It! Let go!
That was really cool. That was just a really cool sequence overall.
Was telling me to believe them. I heard that voice with my own ears.
Oh my god.
But
There's a TARDIS. There's a TARDIS in the back of the shot.
Seem to see beyond
I saw it. They drew it. It made it in. Guys, you made it into the Conjuring 2. How do you feel? Look at this man. Unlock it. Get the key. Get the key or some bolt cutters. Something. Trying to cover it up. I didn't do nothing. Everything's back where it was.
It's so small and light.
Why do you do this?
Amazing. It's old man. Old man Will. There he is.
What's that?
What do you mean, what's that? What are you talking about? What's that? It's clearly an old man. Oh my Christ. Jesus.
Janet's gone! She was just right here!
She teleported. Ninja! Ninja! That ain't good. That is most certainly not good. And that was some contortion to fit in there. I mean, the thing could still possess her and do all this shit.
So much for your leap of faith.
Right, but we all saw her inside the fucking cupboard with demon eyes.
I think it's a little convenient that she just happened to fake an incident in the one room of the house that had a video camera pointing at it.
That is a very good point.
Oh, please, it won't let me go.
Wait, I don't understand. Please,
Spooky nun! Spooky nun! The nun all along! The nun all along! Some convoluted plan. I had my assumptions I didn't want to say in case it made me look stupid. that there, cause, you know, much like the first film, there were multiple spirits at work, and it was like playing with what you thought was the good one, the bad one, etc. So I figured that would be the same. Ah! Not good. Not good. Just smash a window. Just smash a window. Yes, Ed. That's the way. Well, denied, apparently. Smash another window.
I know I made a promise to you, hon. But I have to do this. I love you, Lorraine.
Ed, no!
I mean, I don't think he cares if he's going to die in the process if he can save the girl. Move! It's going to do something. Oh! That's going to hurt. Why break into that door? Break into one of the other ones. I don't think this... I mean, I get the eyes with the steam, but I don't know if it would really affect his hearing. Stop that. Whatever that hand movement is.
I do know your name. I asked you. You told me. You told me your name, and I wrote it down.
Okay. Okay. Don't shove your nose in it, Ed. Jesus. Oh my god. That's an old school shot right there. That was an old school shot. Oof, what a catch! What a fucking hero!
Your name gives me dominion over you, demon. And I do know your name. You are Balak!
His face. Huh? Well, that was... If that worked, that got resolved quick. There he goes. This is literally like the ending of an action movie. Where the heroes are sitting in the back of the ambulance.
You said one person could change everything. I've got two.
Woo! That's a bit of a cheesy line, but I'll go with it. The film earned it. It was just cheesy, but you can have it. You can have it, movie. There's that fucking doll. Didn't make much of an appearance in this one, did you? James Wan, there he is. Good job, James Wan. Okay, that was the reaction to The Conjuring 2. If you enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up button. That helps this video get seen by more people. Maybe consider subscribing so you don't miss any future videos. But for right now, we're going to talk about this movie. Okay, The Conjuring 2. The initial just coming out of the movie feel I get is that in a lot of ways, it's pretty similar to the first film. Even how it's paced, like in terms of you get introduced to the family that is being haunted and the eventual sort of meeting of the Warrens getting involved with that stuff. Like all that was very similar to the first film. Like I say, how it was paced, how it sort of hit beats and stuff. It takes a long time for the Warrens to actually become involved with the haunting that we're seeing taking place. And it's the movie has to earn that moment. Like it has to earn them coming in to actually investigate it. Like they're not just going to show up because one thing that could easily be explained away happens. Like they have to have a whole bunch of stuff happened which could raise concern amongst the right people, so it gets to the Warrens so they become involved. The big difference is in this film they're sort of balancing like the media storm that happened around this haunting. With the first film, it was like an isolated case. No one had ever heard about it before, so the film didn't really need to go into the details of like how the public perception of this event versus the story, the fiction, because that's what it is, the fiction of the movie, and sort of balance those two things. Like that, the first movie could just be its own thing, because it was inspired by a true story. And but they didn't have to deal with the aspect that this true story was public knowledge, if you want to put it that way. Here we're dealing with two hauntings actually. We've got the Amityville Horror, which is a movie. It's a very public thing, and the film sort of opens with that, which is pretty ballsy to sort of start your movie off with something that is in the zeitgeist of horror as it is. But then on top of that, you get into a very, in terms of true events, I don't know what it's like over in the States, but over here in the UK, I remember this story. It's been news ever since it happened. Like I remember, not so much now, but back when I was younger, I remember there being still like documentaries about this thing that happened being made and being broadcast on major channel. Also, I'm aware of what the true story of this movie is based on, probably because I'm from the UK and I sort of have grown up with that story of this media circus that happened around this family and this particular haunting. I don't know it in excruciating detail, I just know that there was a lot of media around it. But in terms of the movie, you could see that this film was balancing this act of a public interest in this event rather than it just being able to do what the hell it wanted, because it is dealing with a true story that is like publicized. It's in the media, so you can sort of see the I'm not going to say it's not a fight or anything like that, but you can see the juggling act of trying to balance what is public knowledge and then what is the fiction of the movie, like what the movie is trying to do, what the script wants to do, and the whole is it true, is it not true element that was a part of the the media that this story covers. So that was interesting. It was an interesting difference between the two in terms of I suppose style and how the script approached like the whole idea of we're telling a true story but with our own twist on it. And it was interesting that this film did actually go out of his way to sort of talk about that stuff, so that was interesting. The other big difference is that clearly James Wan, from Conjuring 1 to Conjuring 2, he got a whole new set of tricks up his sleeve this time around. It's still very much his movie. I can see his same sort of style from the first one, but he clearly trying some new things out as well in this one, in terms of how to get a scare and how to frame things and all that kind of stuff, how to use lighting. The opening segment of Lorraine like being in the body of the killer at Amityville, and how that played out. It was a very different style to the first film, like all the very sharp cuts and just lingering shots, like the kid who's just looking at her. Like, I feel like in any other horror film, and maybe if James Wan was to direct this earlier, it would have been a very quick, like, sharp cut to it, and then, you know what I mean, like those sort of instant jump scares. But in this, he sort of just lingers on it and lets you sort of take in the weirdness of what you're looking at, which I appreciate. And like, my favorite sort of scary scene in this movie was the conversation between Ed and Bill the ghost, who is when he's turned away from him, and the girl is sort of out of focus and is kind of morphing into this spirit who turns out to be oppressed by a further demonic presence that is keeping him here. But that was like my favorite part in terms of direction. Like the just this one still shot of Ed in focus, the background out of focus, and this morphing going on, and this slow sort of zoom in that was happening. That was my favorite piece of like directional work in this movie. Oh, and also the whole like zooming around the house. Like, it does this in the first film, where you get a sense of the geography of the house, but there's a really cool shot of the camera going up and through a window and then back down, and you know, just very slick. So I appreciate his direction, like how he wants his shots to look, how he lights them, and how he uses all that in his, you know, toolbox of how to freak you out, scare you, whatever he needs. And he seems to be very good at all the different types of scary. Like, he's good at your just very on the nose jump scare, and then he's very good at the sort of more lingering, like you don't quite know where this is going, it's kind of creepy kind of stuff. I really liked the Crooked Man. I think that was a really, like, I feel like it was a very inspired choice to make it this kind of stop motion-y kind of effect. Like, it, rather than just having, you know, creepy tall person in a weird costume, they go for this stop motion animated kind of feel with the movements, and extended it to how it looked. Like, rather than just doing it with the movements, they decided, well, let's make this monster almost make it look like it's made out of clay. I really like that. And then just overall, I enjoyed it. I think it's a pretty solid horror movie. I do think it plays it maybe a little bit too close to the first movie in some ways. Like, it is in some ways the first movie again, like in that very kind of, you know, that traditional, well, let's do a sequel, let's do the first movie again, but bigger, you know. But having said that, I kind of liked that this film's idea of let's do the same thing again but make it bigger. It was kind of like what I was saying, let's cover a story that is very much public knowledge and people know about it, and we'll add that element into it. But then also, is it you'd think, like, again, in a traditional sense of let's do it again but bigger, you'd go to a even bigger house with spookier corners and it even more isolated or whatever. But I actually kind of liked that this film went down the path of, well, let's do a story that takes place in a kind of built up public area and deals with the idea of the skepticism that would be based around it and all that kind of stuff. But we know the audience, but the audience knows, and we know that, you know, it's our haunted house movement. That's some sort of political party. It's the haunted house movement. But no, we all know it's like a haunted house movie, all said and done. But I also liked that this film actually makes Ed and Lorraine more of a focus of the story. Like, we're getting like the actual plot of this film is a convoluted plan by a demon to take Ed out, essentially, for some reason. Like, I assume either to get at Lorraine, or because they're both a threat to like the demons everywhere and ghosts and stuff. So this demon has taken it upon itself to remove them from the equation. But yeah, I like that. I like that we had an actual plot that centered in on them as characters, because they, you know, they are the best thing about these movies, really, in terms of like what gives this franchise legs. I think like they are what people probably turn up for, to see their development in their relationship and how these things are affecting them and taking a toll, and you know, all that stuff. So I enjoyed that this one actually used that to effect, and yeah, good stuff. I also think the girl who was playing the part of the one who was being possessed and stuff, she did a really good job in this. She was like, in all the very vulnerable moments, she like pulled all that off, and then when she had to be creepy, she did that. Like, it's a strong, complicated performance for someone that young to do, and I think she really pulled it off. Like, she's sympathetic, she's like vulnerable, but also terrifying, and you know, props to her. Like, it was a really good job that she did with that. And I said this in the reaction, I also really like that it's present in the first film as well, but I think it's done better here, is that the film doesn't mind breathing, and just in all senses, like in terms of when it wants to scare you, it doesn't mind breathing to just let the creepy thing sort of sink in a little bit. And it also doesn't mind letting the characters be human beings who have motivations and responses to things as they play out. And you know, like if it's Ed playing Elvis, if it's the girl and Lorraine sort of talking about their fears and their hopes and stuff in the back garden, and how they want to help and all that stuff, all that stuff just makes you more invested in the characters, and it just elevates it above just being like a spooky house movie. You know, it takes it from just a haunted house movie up to stakes and drama and characters that you are invested in. So I appreciate the movie doing that, even if it just bump up the runtime a little bit. I appreciate that we have that here, and I think that's ultimately, again, one of the reasons why the Conjuring movies see so much success and have its fans, because of that. Because at least the two Conjuring movies that I've seen, they take the time for the characters, as I say, to be human and believable. But no, overall, really good. If I was to compare the two, I think in some ways, I think this might just be a personal thing in terms of which one you would prefer, but I think I prefer this one just because I like the Crooked Man character. I think that's a fun invention. The setting is a lot more relatable to me for very obvious reasons, but I just think it's just a more interesting setting rather than your traditional isolated house in the middle of the woods, which you see in, you know, horror movies since the dawn of time, pretty much. So I liked that it had a very different feel, and it was interesting to see, you know, like a mainstream horror movie set in the UK with this kind of a budget, this kind of production value on it. Like, horror movies in the UK, there are some really good ones, but you can tell that they're made to a budget. You can tell that they're these very niche things that not many people are going to see. But it's just interesting and fun to get to watch a horror movie with just like a buttload, like the truckload of production value, especially coming off the first one. So I assume this film probably got a bigger budget and more resources to put into it. And yeah, it's just fascinating. And you know, there's a element of it dealing with a time period in the UK, especially, that, you know, I'm interested in. A lot of the media that I consume personally is, you know, from that kind of era, like the late 70s into the early 80s. So yeah, good times. I enjoyed this. So yeah, I would recommend The Conjuring 2 if you haven't watched it yet. And if you haven't watched the first one, I would also recommend you watch that. Watch both of them. Good movies. If you're into horror, I think this is another one that elevates itself above sort of normal trappings of modern horror movies. And yeah, it's a good time. Thank you for watching this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and maybe consider subscribing so you don't miss any future videos. And maybe we'll do some more Conjuring stuff. I don't know. That's in the future somewhere. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you on the next one.